from the city is still. I'm from the city is still.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Picksburgh. My name's Anthony. With me, as always, every single Saturday and Sunday, I got my homie Nate. Everyday I'm Hustlin. You guys haven't checked him out. He has a great YouTube channel, and his link is down in the description, so you guys can go and follow him as well. And it's in your best interest to follow Nate because we're going to be doing a live sports card auction on his channel tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And my homie Marty's finna be dropping off a good 30 new slabs, probably this evening or tomorrow morning for said auction. So it's going to be pretty dope. And I'd love to see you guys over there on Senior Dizzy's channel. You guys haven't checked him out yet. He does this show that we're doing right now every other week. We do talk about sports cards. Today we're actually talking about fantasy football because it's getting to be that time of year. I need my practice because, as Nate will tell you, I've been known to make some suspect draft moves in the past. Now, I'm a little bit of a homer, so if there's a Pittsburgh Steeler or former Pittsburgh Steeler available, chances are it's a high temptation for me to take them. So that's why I need these practice drafts. So normally every year, Nate and I have leagues on our channels, and we'll do one live draft through his channel, one live draft through my channel. And we invite anybody from the community that wants to be a part of this. And we'll literally have as many leagues as we have people. And each league will have like 10 to 12 people in it. And we'll kind of just go from there. I want to give a big shout out to my guy, Grunt Dad Sports Cards. Good to see you, my dude. And we also got Mel in the house, Pennsylvania reseller. Good to see you, my friend.
What up?
Doing well today. Yep. So I know Mel and I are going to be hitting up one of the local shows soon. I don't know if you're free. Oh, no, you work tomorrow, huh? So you won't be able to hit that Monroeville show.
Yeah, I won't be able to make it.
Oh, dude, I'm kind of hyped for it, though, like, because this is not run by the same group that normally runs our Pittsburgh shows. So the homie Ryan Malacher, he's setting up out there. And I was like, dude, can you ask if I'm allowed to film? Because normally when I go to the Pittsburgh shows, I'm not allowed to film.
Right.
And apparently, dude's like all about me coming out and filming. So like, I'm kind of pumped up about it. I can't wait to meet these guys, and hopefully, maybe one thing leads to another. We can, help make the card community here in Pittsburgh better. What it needs to be.
Yeah, it's only going to help. I mean,
yep.
Yeah, unless some craziness happens. I mean, then of course.
Absolutely.
But I mean,
Pirates in the house. What up, Mike? Good to see you, my dude.
What up?
Yeah. So, Nate, do you have any key players that you're big on going into this year? Fantasy.
I mean, a lot of the guys that you're looking at, especially first, second round, they're going to be the same guys, pretty much from the year before that, that were picked, unless for some reason you would go with somebody who was a rookie, who maybe didn't think was going to get much playing time, or whatever the case is. So, I mean, your first couple rounds are going to be guys that they're your stars, your superstars, your franchise players. So those are kind of locked in stone. Where it gets really fun is where it gets to the middle to the end. You get some sleeper picks, you get some value picks where maybe someone goes zig, you go zag, and you get the first or second best available player out of the whole draft in other positions. So that's kind of like what I do whenever or try to do whenever we're doing these type of things.
Yeah, that's what I try to do too. It's like the exact same thing though with fantasy and cards. Like my PCs are like my Achilles heel. I mean, you should have seen my fantasy basketball team last year, dude. I had too many Cavaliers. but I can draft a good team too, because one of our leagues last year I did win, but I had considerably less Steelers on that squad.
That's because I kind of picked a few of them, so that's why you didn't get them all.
Pretty much, yeah.
The one thing I always do when before the season starts, I look at all the free agencies and trades and just different things, and I kind of look for that team that, maybe they're in the middle of the pack, maybe they'll, go up into the, better situation or whatever. Like, for example, like Tennessee Titans, they got Julio Jones. That might make their team a lot better on offense, or maybe make Derrick Henry be able to get more running lanes, or maybe another receiver that they have will get less double coverage. So now that it frees them up to have better yards, more catches, and stuff like that. So
Exactly.
it's like you were saying earlier, it's very similar to like kind of like the card game whenever you're looking at different players and trying to figure out what's what and what players have the most value to gain from specific moves. It's sort of the same thing.
Exactly. Completely agree. So normally when you do fantasy, do you prefer to do the PPR leagues, which is point per reception, or do you prefer to do just like the standard leagues where you don't get points for catches?
I like PPR. If somebody has 11 catches in a game, for even if it's 40 yards or whatever the case is, he still had to go out and make a play. You know what I mean? So another guy could have one catch and have 40 yards, and then they're the same. It just it kind of bottlenecks the receivers and makes it a little bit harder to figure out your strategy moving forward. You're going to go with a guy who might get 2 balls, or you're going to get somebody who gets 15 but are running 5-yard routes. You know what I mean? So it makes it a lot harder, like at least for me, and it makes it not as exciting too, because you watch some of those Sunday night, Monday night games, and you got one player left, and you're like, man, I need Edelman or somebody that who's a possession receiver to get 14 catches and 90 yards to win. It might be a little a pretty big stat line, but if he has more yards than receptions or what he averages, but he still gets some similar numbers, then you still have a chance. In other words, so
yeah, exactly, absolutely. So yeah, guys, one thing we're going to actually do for you guys live here today is you're going to actually be able to see our draft strategy live and in effect. Nate and I are going to actually pull up a website called the Fantasy Football Calculator, which is really cool. Like if you're into fantasy and you want to actually be prepared for your league, I've been using this website for a lot of years just to kind of prep and get to learn exactly kind of where certain players are going to go, so that like if like say going into a draft, I know I'm going to be drafting like number 4. You can actually go into here, you can set it up to the exact parameters of your league, scoring system, everything. And you can actually practice drafting from the 4 spot. So you'll know in each round a kind of roundabout way of like who's going to be kind of available. So you can kind of have per round targets kind of going into your draft. So that's what I normally like to do. Got Joey Bada Bing in the house. What is up? Good to see you, my man.
What's up, Joey?
Mel saw the grade on that Valentina card. I don't know if that's the actual grade that's on there, though, Mel. That might just be a promo. So a lot of times, like when we bring cards in, even before the grades, Alan may have the labels done. So that may not actually be the actual grade on your Valentina. But then again, it might be. So I'm not entirely sure. I can double check with Alan and double check the picture. But
Grant that asked, do you draft by need or best available?
It depends. It depends on my team. Most of the time I'll go best available unless like I have like 3 wide receivers and like it's like, oh look, there's another wide receiver available. You know what I mean? At that point it's like, crap, I really need a running back. You know what I mean? So at that point I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna grab a running back here, even though there's probably a superior receiver available. But for the most part, I try to go by best available and kind of let that shape my team in the beginning. And then from there, like in the later rounds, I'm basically going best available all the way until I need to like fill out the roster. But that's what I try to do. But a thing in the easy fo sheezy.
For me, I kind of do both. I want best available, but I also am looking to see how stocked the cupboard is in those other positions. You know what I mean? Can I get a guy that, maybe he's just not ranked as high, but could have similar numbers? Or even if that doesn't happen, is there another guy? You know what I mean? Like last year, I got Waller as on my tight ends for both teams, and he was like the mid round steal last year, and I mean he definitely won me, at least the one championship and a bunch of games on the other team. So
Tim's in the house. What's up, man? He's got 2 championships to defend this year.
They're good, bud.
Yeah, me and Nate each got one to defend. We had 2 leagues through our channels last year, and like I was horrible in one and won one, and I think Nate was horrible in one and won one. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
definitely, man.
Just watching some of the preseason, seeing some of these guys that you thought would play a little earlier, and they start to fall off. I mean, that's another thing too. Is like when you draft, like I try to do it as close to the regular season as possible. Or right before probably like the second exhibition game or whatever, because I don't want to draft too early because people can get cut, and then next maybe it's a salary cap move, and next like a mid round pick just went to the wayside for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to get as close as you can to that, and then just study those charts, see what these players are doing, and like I said before, like really look at the free agent market and see where some of these guys went and kind of project team success and who's going to put up some stats. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So Grunt Dad's asking, in a 12-team league, which draft position do you like the most and which do you like the least? For me, I always hate being in the middle of the draft board, just because I always have somebody on either side of me. I feel like blocking me, like taking the player I want on either end, and normally it's somebody that has like very, very similar like draft styles as me too, that always gets sandwiched in between. So it's like literally the players I want on both sides are getting snagged. Preferably, I really like the end because then you can get the 2 back-to-back spots if you're doing the snake draft. So if I can get a 12 spot and I can come away with like 2 like potential first round talents, as opposed to, just like one, like, because in the middle of it, you'll definitely get like a good, like a better, higher quality player, but on the flip side, you'll get a lower end player. So you'll get two of the more top end players at that end. Plus, every single time it wraps around, you can grab 2 players. So for me, it just makes it like a little bit easier to fill it out being in that 12 spot. Although you also get that same advantage in the 1 spot, but you're basically waiting till like 24 to pick your second player. So, while you have like the prize of the draft at 1, you know what I mean? And barring injury, that should be a player that's going to produce pretty heavily for you all year. Your second player is not going to be as good. So normally if I can get the 12 spot, I'm pretty happy. I know a lot of people don't like going last, but I don't mind if I can get those 2 back-to-back picks.
See, the one thing for me is like if I pick first or second towards the beginning like that, and if my guy that I picked first or in the first round, if he has like an off year or gets hurt, my team seems to just die because like I don't get another pick for such a long time. My second and my third round picks are just like so far away, and then everybody else is a lot closer. So it really that first pick that you take, it's got to be somebody that has a track record and doesn't have that much of an injury history or whatever the case may be. Like if I had the first round pick or say at first through 4, you don't want to go after a guy say like James Conner who was like hurt halfway through the year, for example. You know what I mean? Because then you only have him for 5 or 6 games or whatever versus needing him for every. To be your guy to score your majority of your points, especially running back position. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So what you're saying is I shouldn't have drafted him in every league last year.
Well,
good move.
It was a dice roll. I mean, you thought you were going to see James Conner from like 2 years ago or his rookie year or whatever it was, and I looked at a guy that. Had a crowded backfield. They brought in a running back, so it made me think that they had some questions at the running back position, and he just couldn't stay healthy. So, like for me, he was if I had drafted him, he would have been towards the end of the end the draft. He would in one of those like throwing guys just to give me some maybe a spot start when I got to buy or whatever the case is. But I mean, if he would have played like he did in his first year, I mean, he would have been second round talent all day of the week. I mean, especially with Ben back, and the offense should have been really running, but they didn't run the ball at all, and they didn't even give him a chance to really get like a nice rhythm on offense. They kept subbing out and giving guy 1-2 plays and subbing out and doing flip flop. So it was tough.
Absolutely. Yeah, LaVisca, man. I definitely think that dude's going to have a nice year with Trevor Lawrence. Tim's asking, though, do either of us play daily fantasy at all? I do the free like, DraftKings or, whatever it is every once in a while. Like, I'm not real consistent with it just because, like, the thing I like most about fantasy is being able to talk trash to people I know. And, like, that's literally the best part of it. Like, to be able to be like, hey, Nate, I'm going to, like, totally like whoop your butt this week, and then like every single time one of my players does something good, I can like literally take a little jab at them. So I like more so like joining leagues like with people just for like the competitiveness and like the crap talking aspect of it. But I will do like the free ones just for fun sometimes. I know, Nate, you do a lot more of the daily fantasy sports, don't you?
Yeah, I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like football is definitely like my one sport that I like, just love watching. It's not as crazy as like, especially like baseball or anything where like you got 90 games like going every day, and you got one weekend and you got Monday. You know what I mean? So like you really just sit and vegetate and just watch football, just soak it all in. You see what's going on, make adjustments as soon as the waiver wire comes out, on Wednesday or whatever it is. And, it's just a lot more, a lot easier for me to manage, from my, just a crazy man perspective.
Absolutely. How many leagues do you normally join every year, Nate?
I think either 2 or 3, and then, I do like the DraftKings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of, I'm always doing something with those, but usually 2 or 3 just regular leagues.
Yeah, I joined way too many, man, because I share teams with Marty too. So like every year I'm always in like at least 2 or 3 through him, and then he's in like 2 or 3 through me, and then because I'm an idiot and like mock drafts just like lose their like oomph after a while, I go on ESPN and I end up drafting like 5 real teams to manage too. So I always end up with like 10 plus teams, and it's such a pain in the butt, like for waivers and stuff like that, trying to keep them all like, up to date and like competing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, just news from week to week, watching players if they practice or not, and so on and so forth. It's a lot to look over, and usually, like I noticed from my teams, I'll have like a little core of the same players on each team, which kind of help. But if you're doing 5 teams, there's no way you're going to have like basically kind of the same players on every league. It just makes it a lot harder because you might have a guy that got hurt, and then you got the best player available off the bench in most leagues, and then you forget one or whatever, or a guy gets hurt or is not starting, and you're checking 5 teams before 1 o'clock, where it's a lot harder to do when you got that many teams. So I usually try not to go that deep into it. I usually like doing, like I said, like 2, maybe 3 teams, and then I do the daily fantasy just to add a little spark, a little extra mojo, watching some of the other games that maybe I wouldn't watch. It just makes it a lot more fun that way.
Yeah, for sure. So Grunt Dad says he's in a super league, 16 team, $200 entry. He always gets 2 solid quarterbacks because with 16 teams, they dry up quick. Yeah, I'm in this one league with Marty. I think it's 14 teams, but it has a flex position that you could literally start anything in. Like any position that is draftable, you can start there. So quarterbacks tend to score the highest in that league. So like literally like the first few rounds is literally just people going quarterback frenzy like nuts because of how high they score and the fact that you can start 2 of them in that league. So that's another thing too. Just like Tim was saying earlier, like depending on, what different types of leagues you're in, it's really hard to have like a sound strategy because you may have to completely draft differently for, a certain scoring system. Like I was in this one league one year that gave points for like return yards and return touchdowns and all that stuff on top of it. So like literally like the little scat backs, like the Darren Sproles type players that were like literally killing the game, like doing a little bit of everything, were so far and outweighing like the Adrian Petersons that were like leading the league in rushing and touchdowns and stuff like that. So like that's something that you really got to be mindful of, because back then you could have gotten Sproles in like the mid to late rounds and like Peterson's like a top 2 to 3 pick. You know what I mean? So it's like you really sometimes got to study the scoring system more so than anything, just to kind of predict who's going to be those big players. What's up, Myra? Good to see you. Buying spaces in the house.
What up? See, if I was going to play in a league that had a flex position like that, I'd probably end up snagging 3 quarterbacks.
Heck yeah, dude. Could you imagine that if you did that, then there'd be at least, I think, one team that would only have 1 quarterback, and they'd be so handicapped.
Because I mean, that's the main thing. Like getting, handicapping your opponent. If you can handicap a team right off the bat, like having like a below average quarterback where they're not going to score above 10 points a game, or they'll struggle to, and you got guys that are scoring 25 to, or even in the 15s, that's an advantage you have just with one guy on that team. So, if you're able to kind of corner the market and get guys like that, it happened last year when the running back market, you know what I mean? Like it went dry, and then next you're picking guys that you're like, holy moly, like are these guys even going to play? And you just had to take a dice roll and pick guys and throw them on your bench just for the fact that you don't even know. And like I know last year I had Jones from Tampa Bay, and then Thing came over from the Jags, and then I dropped him, and then he ended up playing the majority of the time or whatever. So like I kind of screwed myself with that, but you know what I mean? Like it's just as the draft turns, especially in the early things, you'll see teams that will go after players way early. Like there was a guy that took Patrick Mahomes like with the first round or whatever, and I'm like, okay, that wasn't the greatest pick. Now he's an amazing player, one of the best quarterbacks, of course, but for value, if you can get a running back who's going to score 25 points a game, like when I got with dude from Minnesota, what's his name?
Dalvin Cook.
You go after a guy like that, and then you get the quarterback maybe the next round, and even though you probably won't score as many points as Mahomes, he'll be a little below. Now, you have a guy that scores 15 more than your opponent every time you go out in the field, because then, they're basically got a guy that might get a couple receptions and rush for 50 yards, and you got a guy that can score 3 or 4 touchdowns and put 50 points on the board in a few games. So it's a huge advantage whenever you're doing stuff like that.
I agree. Absolutely. Gonna give a big shout out to my man Swamp Picker. What is up, Glenn? Great to see you. We've got Alan in the house. What is going on, big boss man? You don't know, Alan is the man with the plan, the man with the hands that are so hot. That's Hot Hands Hoshik. If you guys aren't following him over on IG, it's my homeboy. But yeah, Gruntdad says he doesn't like playing in leagues that have less than 12 to 14 teams, because anything less, teams are full of studs and there's no strategy. I love the leagues that have like basically, 12 to 16, just for the fact that you literally have to watch waivers. You have to know backups. You literally have to like be immersed a lot more, rather than just being, okay, am I going to start Julio Jones this week or Keenan Allen? You know what I mean? It's like, they're both stud wide receivers. You know what I mean? Like, whereas like there still is some skill in like, okay, well, who's covering Keenan? Who's covering Julio? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the situation? Is there a dome? Is there not? So you still factor in those things, and you can kind of predict who's going to have a bigger game. But when you're getting down to the point where you're like, all right, am I starting James Washington this week, who could be the 3rd to 4th wide receiver in Pittsburgh's offense, or am I starting, rookie wide receiver X, Y, or Z this week? You know what I mean? Like, so like That's what I do really like about those type of leagues. One of my favorite leagues I've ever been in was a 16-man dynasty keeper league, which was awesome. Like the thing that was like real strategic about it is like you wanted to be competitive, but you also wanted to continue to have like the next up and coming guys as well. So it's like you kind of needed to pick and choose, like just like real NFL, like when it's time to kind of cut bait on a guy before they start to lose too much value. Exactly, Grunt Daddy says in a 16-team league, you're looking at wide receiver 3 and 4 as starters. Absolutely.
See, the only thing I don't like though about that is like whenever you're in the beginning of the draft, you don't know what way the draft's going to go or whatever the case is, right? And say you pick a running back because that's the most thin, probably smallest skill set for a position, and you can run him flex and so on and so forth. So you pick him, and then everyone goes quarterback. So when it comes back to you and you're one of the first ones to pick, there's no quarterbacks that are like worth even talking about anymore. So like that's one thing I'm not a huge fan of. People can really put the screws to you, especially if you got like one of the first picks of the draft or whatever. So you really have to like you're almost at a disadvantage because either they're going to go full on quarterback or they're going to take all the running backs, and then you're not going to have any running backs. So having one of those early picks actually puts you at a disadvantage in those type of formats, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tim might even said it in this chat at some point. Like the hard part about being on the ends is sometimes you do miss out on being able to build something more consistent. And honestly, you might have to reach. And that's what I like about like the fantasy football calculator and the mock drafts and stuff like that, is if you really want a guy and like say, for example, right, James Conner's going mainly 4th, 5th round, and I really want him, and I know that there's some other Pittsburgh people, I might have to grab him in the 3rd. I'm not saying do that this year or, do that anyway, because it did not pay off for me at all. But if you're big on a guy, like I'm just using Conner as an example because I was big on James Conner, expecting a rebound from him, which did not happen. But if you're big on a guy, doing these mocks, like it'll at least show you, like if you want that guy on your team, you need to draft him by at least this spot to get him, or else he's typically gone. And then you need to account for anybody that you personally know in the league too, and like players that they like, or like tendencies. Like in our 2nd draft, Nate said, "Hey, I know Anthony's going for this player, so I'm gonna grab him before he does." You know what I mean? So those type of things, knowing that kind of stuff and being prepared and kind of having an idea of where players are going to land, just is going to help you so much more whenever you actually get to your real draft. And honestly, last year I didn't prep enough. And I don't want to say that's the reason my first team sucked, but like it contributed to it because I put like almost no prep work into going into that first league last year. I was just like, all right, I'm drafting the players I like, and it did not work.
You're on the road too, so that didn't help. You had some connection issues.
Yeah.
Before, so adding all that in, and you even doing a little bit of research that we all do right before we pick. Having connection issues that totally stunted your, way, the way to look at that information and stuff like that to me even help.
Oh, dude, like honestly, towards like the late rounds, I was just like, oh, screw it, Emmanuel Sanders. I know him. You know what I mean? Like, so like literally that's what I did. Like, cause I'm like literally driving home from Ohio, like trying to just get anything and not get auto picked.
Like, oh, he played for the Steelers. Grab
him. It's like, even if he sucks, I still like him. So we'll go ahead and give him a shot. Hopefully he can do something in New Orleans. So yeah, Alan was saying flavor of the week, running backs and receivers late that get, meaning that they play against weak defenses. Absolutely. I love trying to exploit defenses. There was one year, I don't know if it was 05 or 06, it was early in Alex Smith's career. The 49ers made me so much money because I was in this have you ever been in a pick'em league where you have to pick a different team every single week? You can't pick the same one twice. So I literally, that entire year, outside of like their divisional matchups, I picked every single team that played the 49ers, and 49ers lost, I think, every game but one that year. And then also, I basically would do the same thing with fantasy matchups. Is I would look for the players and teams that were going up against them that year because I knew that they were atrocious and they couldn't stop anybody. And then I would just, play the heck out of them.
That's another good point too. Like schedule is another thing to look at. Not saying this is the case, but say the AFC North, which is the Steelers and everyone else. Or like I said, not saying this, but say the AFC North is relatively weak this year. They lost Ben, and there's no quarterbacks, and the Ravens defense is not any good, and so on and so forth. And you see a quarterback who, is one of those top quarterbacks, and he plays against the NFC North. Now you have 4 easy games that he's going to put numbers up on. Plus, he's that guy anyway, so he's going to put them up regardless. So, you maybe reach on a guy like that a little bit, pick a little bit early because, his schedule is going to be so much easier versus going against a team that, might be going against the Rams, the 49ers, and, the Steelers or whoever. You know what I mean? So, that's definitely another thing to look at.
Glenn. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Later, brother.
Yeah, man. I'm with you on that, dude. Absolutely. That's an important thing. I sometimes go overboard with that though. Like sometimes whenever I'm drafting, I'll try to find the value guys that are like, oh, this guy has a bum hamstring or something's wrong with him. So right now who should be a second round pick is going in the 6th or 7th round pick. And sometimes I get tied up with picking up those guys that I literally have to wait half a season to even use. And I feel like sometimes I ruin my chances by doing that because I do too much of that, or I'll get guys that I think will be good for the playoffs, but thinking okay, well, my team right now might not even be playoff bound. You know what I mean? So I try to do as much of that as possible, but at the same time, I try not to do too much speculating or grab, because I always burn myself with the players that are hurt because the one year I had probably my best fantasy season ever. I picked up players that were hurt and they all came back and it was it worked flawlessly. By the time playoffs came, it was I had a Pro Bowl team, pretty much. It was it was so hard for anybody to beat that team because I picked up all these players that were literally should have been picked way earlier, but they were late rounds. But it seems like most of the time I do that, I get burned. You know what I mean? Especially early on, because if your team's not competitive, man, and honestly, you miss out on so many waiver opportunities. You know what I mean? You know how many really good waiver pickups I could have had, but it's oh wait, I got to keep AJ Green on my bench for 8 weeks with him doing literally nothing, and then oh wait, he'll come back and still pretty much do nothing. You know what I mean? Whereas I could have dropped him and picked up a LaVista or pretty much James Robinson or any of these players that weren't either drafted or high drafted. You know what I mean? And I'm keeping a guy who's a name, who's injured, just chilling on my bench, giving me 0 points. So even in the event of a tiebreaker, he still is not helping me break that tie. You know what I mean? And see, I feel that's one of my weaknesses. You know what I mean? I'll see a guy man, this is a great value. It's almost with sports cards, right? When I'm digging through bargain bins and I see a card, I'm that's a $20 card. Why is this in a $3 box? You know what I mean? And it's I got to get that card. I feel the same way with fantasy football. Whenever I see players that are better than their draft position, I just am most of the time inclined to get them. And I've just been burnt by that too many times. So I don't know. I might shy away from that a little bit more this year. Have you ever kind of done that or had that experience, Nate?
Once I go through the first, I think it's 3, maybe 4 rounds at the most, I kind of start doing my own thing. I kind of go, I start going my thought process of just who I like because the middle of the draft is going to be so muddled together. You know what I mean? In one mock draft, you might have him going 72, and then the next one it's 120 because who knows? You know what I mean? It just depends. You know what I mean? So to me, like the middle rounds and the late rounds, that's all on your view of those guys. You know what I mean? Because anytime you watch a draft and there's somebody that's getting auto picked, you see guys that are ranked 50th getting picked like in the last round. Well, there's a reason why they're 50th. They either have injury or they just maybe in a contract dispute or whatever. So like, I mainly look at stuff and I'll go, okay, like I know this guy, I know how he plays. He's on a new team. I think he's going to do a whole lot better this year. Or you know what, this team is a more running team. I'm going to stay away from this guy. Or I got burnt from injury from before. Or he usually doesn't stay healthy. So like I think about all that and I just take the best risk for the reward. You know what I mean? Like I will take guys like you did with like AJ Green, where like okay they're injured, but if he comes back and plays still every year, and Cincinnati was going to have to throw a whole lot last year because they were in the division that they were, and they were a bad team the year before. They have a new quarterback, so they're going to want to throw, even though they really want to run because they don't want to get him hurt. They're going to be behind. So, if he would have had any type of year versus wanting to basically kind of sit out and kind of keep his value good for free agency last year because they weren't playing for anything, especially with Burrow being out for the rest of the year pretty early in the season. You know what I mean? So, like, that's I kind of get caught up in that too. But, like, I try not to do it with too many guys because then, you're wasting some of these picks when I could have got a young stud like LaVisca or somebody else that, it's a little more of a risk, but if it pays out, it's paying off in diamonds and gold. So
once you get burned by a guy, do you ever go back to them? Or are you like, I refuse to like ever draft and use this guy on my team again? I've been like that. Like I've spite cut players, even though it probably wasn't a good idea. Like it probably gave somebody a better player, but like I've spite cut people just because sometimes.
I mean,
like no one like super like top heavy that would like literally like ruin my chances of winning. But like, for example, like the James Robinsons of the world, or not James Robinsons, James Washington's wide receiver for the Steelers. It's like he could have a 2 touchdown game at any given time, but what are the probabilities of that happening consistently? So if I start him one week and he burns me, and I start him another week and he burns me, it's like waiver wire, buddy. You're not coming back.
Exactly.
Not welcome.
I mean, like a lot of times with guys, if you got burnt once, they're in the decline of their career. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of how the football is. They had an injury or maybe they got traded or they went to a free agency, went to this team, and their offense, their philosophy is just totally different than what they're used to. So, like, once that kind of happens, I just kind of look and see why this happened. Well, what happened? And then I kind of just make an evaluation of why it happened. Do I think it could improve? Did they not have a good offensive line? Did they just not have any skill players around him? So on and so forth. So, like, a lot of it is just just you really sitting back and being the GM and really, evaluating these guys like you would if you were drafting players for the teams, like for real. You know what I mean? So. A lot of people are going to be, especially in those middle rounds, are going to be close or around the same. But, their offense or their play style, their coaching, it can make it from a mid-round late pick where, it probably shouldn't get drafted or on the fringe of being on the waiver wire, or they could be one of those guys that you just can't not start him because he's either going in flexes or he's going into, like another position or whatever. So.
Exactly. Myra had a question about the Jags. She said, do they have a chance to be a good team this year? I think they do. I think they have a chance to be a really good team. They drafted a guy named Trevor Lawrence to be their quarterback. And honestly, like if he's anything close to what they're predicting him to be, he's probably already the best quarterback that they've ever had in the franchise. So I'm excited for the Jaguars. They also got his college teammate at running back, Travis Etienne, in the draft, and some other pretty good young players. So they've been developing nicely, that team. Like I think they have a lot of potential. LaVisca, the guy we've been talking about, is a wide receiver we think is going to pretty much break out for the team. So Yeah, I like the Jags. I really do. I think that they have a lot of potential, especially with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback.
I think they're going to have like a 6-10 type of year. I don't think they basically did like a yard sale of their team last year. They're just dumping guys and just freeing up cap room and just getting draft capital and you name it. So like
they're definitely a rebuilding team. So like what I mean. They're not going to be like Super Bowl bound or anything.
No. Yeah, but
it'll be fun to watch.
I just think that the hype around Lawrence will be there, but as the weeks go by and they don't get as many W's, I think it'll start to cool off. But they'll definitely have a better year than they did last year. I think hopefully Trevor Lawrence throws a couple game winners, or at least is able to keep up scoring wise versus some of these teams compared to whoever they had the last couple years. Gardner Minshew, he wasn't too bad, but I mean, he's not a guy that's gonna be able to score 50 for you if you need it.
Exactly, Myers. He said it's been a long road. Last year was horrible. Yard sale is a good word for last year. Absolutely, makes it feel better to me at least.
I tried to bring it back to some reselling lingo this way.
Can I say what's up to my man Tom? Appreciate you being here, man. You said fantasy, you can't pick homers as in your favorite team because it's the double whammy when they lose. Not only does your team lose, but it also screws your fantasy team. Learn not to pick your fave. Yeah, I'm guilty of that far too often, man. And honestly, the other thing that's kind of like a catch-22, when I'm watching the Steelers and I'm like, come on, guys, you need to get a stop. But wait, okay, let that guy score. You know what I mean? Let him score. So it's like I want the Steelers to win so bad, but I also want that guy to score because I want to beat Nate this week, It's like, all right, guys, stop everybody but Jonathan Taylor. Let him get all of the points.
Right.
Everybody else, shut down. Speaking of Jonathan Taylor, man, shout out to him. He pretty much won me that league I won last year. Like, that dude is like, I'm excited to see his prospects this year, like what he's going to be going at and everything. But I like him. I think he's a solid running back. Hoping Najee Harris is going to be even better, and he's a Steeler. The thing I'm worried about is our offensive line, because our offense is basically sick except for the fact that we have no coverage. I almost feel kind of like it's like a Burrow situation, like where he has all the weapons, he just doesn't have the bulletproof vest to protect him, coming off of an ACL, you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm concerned about that. Especially for the Steelers too, with an old Big Ben, you know what I mean? Not that Big Ben's not a tough dude, not that he won't play injured, but he's old now, you know what I mean? Like, I'm in my mid to late 30s, and I know for a fact I don't heal like I used to. You know what I mean? So that's just like a natural thing. Like, and this dude gets beat up anyway just by his play style. You know what I mean? So getting beat up like that in his late 30s, you know what I mean, with a bad offensive line, you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna have to have like literally pulled off a miracle for our offensive line to like be good this year. Like, not great, good. You know what I mean? Like, that I'm concerned about that. Like, that's the big concern I have with our team right now. But I think Burrow's kind of in that same situation where like the tools are all there. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that we have a receiver like Claypool that can get 4 touchdowns in a game. The fact that we just got a running back like Najee Harris that can literally hurdle grown men on the field, like, that's huge. But we need like big, large men in front of them to block them from being hit, So like that's something I'm concerned with. And I think that that's something you can even kind of apply to fantasy football as well. You know what I mean? When you're projecting like injury risk, when you're projecting, I would say projecting like points and stuff like that and how well they'll do over the season, is just knowing that they're going to be really handicapped versus elite pass rushing defenses, because it's just their protection's not there. You know what I mean? So that's another thing you may have to like weigh every single week when you're going through your lineup. Am I going to start this guy this week or this guy? Claypool might be better, but is the offensive line going to hold up versus the pass defense of this guy? You know what I mean? So those are just a few of the things that like I always try to think of, because I've been burnt by that in the past too. You know what I mean? Like star players that should every week give you 20 points that just disappear sometime because of a game situation. Maybe the team was ahead a lot of points. You know what I mean? Like even Antonio Brown would get jacked off whenever the Steelers would be up and throw or running the ball because he's not eating. Business ain't booming for him then. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the same with fantasy. Like if you have a team that is going to get ahead real heavy, your receivers might not be eating if they hadn't contributed to that big lead already. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times when teams are ahead, they try to just chew the clock by running the ball. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Nate?
I mean, like last year, like I was just looking at a report with the Castro. Like he was hurt last year. He had surgery on his ankle, and he said it never healed right, and that's part of the reason why they gave him the release.
Yeah.
And then they signed that Trey Turner. Turner had a bad year, but he's a young guy. Mm-hmm. You got a new center coming on board. You got new tackles.
I like Turner, man. I think he has a lot of potential. Like so, not that I think I did say the line's going to not be good, but we have potential. I mean, there are players that can develop. We just drafted what's his name in the third round, the offensive lineman. He can either play guard or center. I'm not sure where we're going to put him yet, but I mean, he has potential to develop into something. And we have a next man up mentality in Pittsburgh. It's always been that way. You know what I mean? So even if like you're, for example, like a James Harrison type player who's a practice squad, walk-on, undrafted type player, kicked around to several teams, you're expected to step in and play like a defensive player of the year. You know what I mean? That's just the way Pittsburgh is. So I expect, Coach Tomlin to be pretty strict on the offensive line. Plus, we've upgraded coaching and stuff as well. So I think that we'll be solid. But,
yeah.
He's in the house. What up, my man? Good to see you, brother.
What up? They have Eth Green as like the number 3 center right now, which is kind of surprising. I thought he would have a better chance of starting, but their offensive line looks like Zach Banner, Trey Turner, JC Hazen something, Kevin Dotson, and Okafor. So a really young. Mm-hmm. Line, but
inexperienced.
Like I said, like with Pouncey, maybe just having issues or whatever, and then DeCastro was playing on one foot. I mean, anytime you got the center of your line that literally can't block or have a major issue like that, it's like being handicapped just from the start of the game. So, even if Trey Turner isn't the answer, he's going to be healthier. He's going to be better than. What's it called, the casher from last year. So hopefully, the Lincoln gel and their offensive coordinator or offensive line coach can kind of put the pieces together. But they got potential. You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of what you got to do when you got a team that's strapped against the salary cap the way they are. So, I mean, I like what they did in the offseason. I like the Najee Harris. I like the tight end pick. I think Eric Ebron is not going to be like a long time answer. I think this will be his last year. I'm actually surprised they didn't try and cut him this year because of the signing of the tight end. But I guess because it's Ben's last year, they figured we need 2 tight ends because we're probably going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets to help with the blocking and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, I think Ebron has talent. I'm big on Freiermuth though, like from Penn State. I think he's going to be good. Like, I don't know that he's going to develop into like one of the best in the league, but I think he's definitely going to be a serviceable tight end. I'm, pretty big on him. He had a pretty good college career at Penn State, and he's a double PC for me. So I was really happy to see him get picked.
He was a second round pick, correct?
Yep.
So I mean, you've seen guys like Gronk and other guys get picked in the second round, and look what they turned into. So, I mean, he's not. Well, actually, he is kind of Gronk-like, 6'5", 258. And he's young, so he'll put. His body can kind of change the way they need fit for the position. So if they want him to be a little lighter on his feet, or they need him to be a little more Heath Miller, like they'll bulk him up. So,
Yep.
That's the one thing that's nice about getting a guy that has a frame like that. He can do multiple things. He just needs probably a little more coaching to get him where he needs to be for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. Do you want to get into a mock? We can kind of hop in there and kind of see what happens.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I had it up.
We're going to share our screen with you guys so you can actually watch us go through this is my first mock draft of the season. Is this your first one too?
I haven't ran any yet.
Cool. And if anyone's watching on Facebook and I'm not seeing your comments, I apologize. Or on Twitch, I apologize. Sometimes when you stream to multiple platforms, I get a little message here saying that sometimes comments won't get picked up or something like that. So if I've missed anyone, I genuinely apologize.
I'm gonna hop in.
I'm not seeing any though. I have my Facebook up currently.
I'm gonna hop in ESPN. The other one didn't have many people sign
Okay.
up or anything, so
Cool. Yeah, no worries. Even if there's not people, I think it just does computer picks. It goes a little bit faster.
head per head. I need PPR.
Exactly, Tom. Dude, I thought Ebron was going to be one of the better tight ends in the league eventually when he got drafted. He just never really met that potential. He still has a ton of potential. I think he's a good player. I just would like to see him kind of become what he can be.
What do we want to do? 12 team?
That's fine. You on ESPN or are you on calculator?
I'm on ESPN.
All right, let me pull up an app here. I'll hop on there with you.
It's beginner 12 team head-to-head points mock. Starts in 2 minutes and 50 some seconds.
Anybody that's watching, you want to get in with us, feel free. I have to re-download the app. Hopefully I'll get in there in time. It's I don't know why iPhone, I guess the save on space, but anytime you don't use an app in a while, they put it in your cloud. We're going to put up the screen here. My dog's apparently going to try to climb up on my table here. Sit on there. So yeah, anybody that wants to join us and draft a team, you can absolutely feel free to do so. Hopefully I will be able to get in.
There's one slot available right now.
Well, we can always jump out and into another one if that one doesn't, if I can't get in.
Oh, 2 spots down.
Cool.
Oh, cool. All right, I'll hop out.
Come on.
Let me know when you're loaded in, and I'll.
Yeah, I'm logging into the app right now.
All right.
I don't know why you even logged me out.
I just didn't with the other one. It looked like it was all computer generated, so I didn't want to.
Yeah, that's fine.
It takes so long.
I just make sure my password is on ESPN. All right, I'm in. Okay, so football. Try a mock draft. All right, where we want to go? There's the PPR beginner mock. 3 of 12. You want to do that?
There's one with 4 of 12.
Oh, there's 6 of 12. Beginner mock. You see that one? Is that the one you're in, or which one are you in?
Yeah, 6-12. I'm in that one.
Okay. Cool. Anybody else that's in the chat, if you want to do this with us, are you guys going to play any best ball leagues? Possibly.
What is best ball leagues?
I'm not sure. Can you Google it? Boom. See who number 3 is? Do you see who number 3 is? What? What?
What do I get?
Did we get any of you other guys in here with us, or is this just all randos?
I'm number 2.
Oh, I know you're in there. I just didn't know if anybody else was able to sneak in. Oh, it's about to begin. Look, my dog's excited. He's like, we're about to play some fantasy football. Good boy. Let's see. Where am I going to get? Oh, I'm pick number 3. What pick did you get?
2.
So that means we're going to be blocking each other.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you might get your boy Dalvin then.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. So best ball is you draft a team and you get the best points each week. I'm going to have to look that up because I've not ever had a chance to do that yet.
Yeah, I've never heard of that yet. But
I'm always into stuff like this though. Like anything that I can do to make sports more fun, I'm all about it. You know, because like it's pretty much my hobby to like watch football, basketball, like all these sports anyway. But like now I have a vested interest like in teams that I could care less about. Like I want to watch their games because, like, for example, the Colts. I could care less if the Colts even leave the NFL. But I had Jonathan Taylor last year, so anytime the Colts were on, I was trying to watch their games because I wanted to see Jonathan Taylor give me some points. Draft begins in a minute and a half. What do you guys think about Saquon Barkley this year? You think he's going to be healed up?
I think I think Daniel Jones and the Giants might have a chance to do something this year.
Good old Danny Dimes. Didn't they just pick up a receiver this year? Didn't they? Who did they pick up in free agency? I just wanted to just pick somebody up. Dude, Arizona's going to have some nice weapons this year, man. Got Hopkins, Connor. Hey, I mean, he's basically in the same offense for the most part. I mean, he's in Pittsburgh West. Jonathan Taylor is ranked number 8 overall right now. Well, he should be. That dude is a beast, man. I love Jonathan Taylor. Anybody that single-handedly won me a fantasy league, like
they got Kenny Galladay from the Lions. That was a good pickup.
Yeah. I was going to say I thought they got
he's a
receiver.
He's a number 1 type guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He has big play potential too, which is nice. And he's a nice big target for Danny Dimes too. I know young guys, man, they really thrive with who won? Oh, Saquon went number 1.
What?
Who you leaving me, bro? Am I getting Dalvin or am I getting McCaffrey? Who you leaving me?
Yeah,
I wanted McCaffrey so bad.
I was going to take Cook, but I was like, I can't do that.
You know what's kind of hard for me here is like I almost want to take Derrick Henry here. I almost want to take Derrick Henry over Dalvin Cook. What do you guys think in the chat? You guys are saying Kamara? You guys think I should go Kamara, Dalvin Cook, or not Travis Henry, Derrick Henry? We'll draft Travis Henry, OG Buffalo Bill from like the early 2000s. How about that?
See, Kamara's going to be a big part of the offense or whatever, but
I was about to auto pick. I just took
there's
best available.
There's no Drew Brees to kind of help him. You know what I mean? Like
that's what happens with me, dude. Like I get within 10 seconds and I see it go red. I'm like, oh crap! Boom. I just like. I probably should have went Kamara, like Tom said, just because of the PPR ability.
Nah, I really think that he's going to have a down year this year because because there's no Drew Brees anymore, man.
That's I didn't think of that.
They might throw a little more to him out the backfield.
Jameis Winston, bro. Tom says Travis Henry and his 10 kids and 10 baby mamas. Absolutely. I would automatically, by drafting Travis Henry, guarantee myself 20 seats sold in the stadium.
Yeah.
Just for his kids and baby's mamas.
I guarantee it.
Is Tebow still available? He is. Actually, that's what Cajun said. Cajun Reseller. He said over on Facebook, draft Tim Tebow. I would imagine Tebow is still available. I might have to grab him in the late rounds. Although now Nate'll probably grab him. That sucks. We both got so close to each other. I thought it would have been awesome if we were like different types of positions.
It was pretty random.
Dude, you got my boy McCaffrey though. I had to get Delvin Cook though because he did me right last year.
That was the only reason why I like paused for a second and thought about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Delvin Cook. It was basically Cook and Taylor that basically dominated that league for me. They were like my 1-2 punch.
Sam Darnold's going to be decent for Carolina, I think. He's not going to be a superstar or anything, but I think he's going to be a lot better, or not a lot better, but he's going to be better. I think he's going to be better than Thing.
Yeah, dude, I would have taken Taylor over Zeke. I mean, I'm partial though because Taylor won me a championship. Zeke's a beast though. Like I'll give Zeke his credit. He's a beast. There goes Taylor. Pick 11. We going receivers, or are we going to keep the running back train rolling here? Dude, Taylor won at 10. That's great value. I haven't really put much research in yet either, Tom. That's kind of what this isn't a real draft, so it doesn't necessarily matter. It's just kind of like practice, mock, fun. I always love doing this, like me and Marty, since we share teams, we always try to do this together just to kind of like pregame before we actually do the draft. Like the week of, we'll get together and do like several of these, just trying to plan for where we want to do. Nice thing about the calculator is you can actually pick your draft position if you know that ahead of time. Nick Chubb, nice pick. I like Nick Chubb, dude. I really do. Cam Akers at 15. Would you take him that high? I don't know that I'd take him that high.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or Gibson at 16. I probably don't take him that high either. Dude, Najee's up pretty high too. It'd be nice if just no one I was gonna say if no one just takes Devontae Adams and leaves him for me, but apparently that is not in the cards. Don't you do it, Team P. Don't you do it. Team P is gonna do it, I think, Nate. You see the top player on the board is? That's who Anthony wants.
Okay, he's gonna be gone.
Yeah, he'll definitely be gone. Justin Jefferson's ranked pretty high this year. All right, so I'm probably going to go either Najee Harris. No, I'm not going Najee Harris because Team P did it because they're jerks. So am I going DK, Clyde, Justin Jefferson? I don't really want Michael Thomas without Breeze. I mean, I would take him, just not right now. Is it more valuable, you guys think, to grab another running back here than a wide receiver? DK just went. What do you think Clyde's going to do this year, Nate?
I don't know, to be honest.
I mean, he looked like a beast last year.
Kind of flaked off towards the end.
Yeah, A.J. Brown's available too. Team Crisp, you jag off. He took Clyde. This is making this a lot easier for me then. Do I go A.J. Brown knowing that Julio is going to be there eating? Or do I go Justin Jefferson knowing that he's pretty much going to be like the number one receiver there? Let's see, Chris Carson. I'm pretty much reaching for anybody else. I'm just going to go with my gut. Take Jefferson. Oh, I should not have taken him. I have Delvin Cook. You're actually right, Tom. I probably should have taken Brown because I have Delvin Cook. I literally just took two players on the same offense. Way to go, Anthony. Probably should have went Brown. Oh, well. I like Justin Jefferson, too. I think they'll both eat. I just don't like having two players on the same team. Unless they're like quarterback, receiver, or something like that. You know what I mean?
I took my
Oh,
homie.
Patty, my homeboy. What was he ranked?
Hold on.
That was a sneaky pick.
Like I said, I want to try and get the best of some players. You know what I mean?
Honestly, that was a better pickup than Justin Jefferson. You know, because like I basically just went with somebody I thought would give me good points at that position. Yeah, that was smart, dude. Like honestly, I probably would have done better grabbing a tight end or a quarterback like you did. Especially because literally every player I wanted got picked like in succession right before me. Dude, I hope Zeke comes in hard, man. Like, because it's always good for the NFL when Dallas is good. I think. Yeah, I know, man. Like, it's only. Oh, who'd you grab? Keenan Allen. Nice pickup. I like Keenan Allen.
AJ Brown's not going to put up them type of numbers again. He's going to have to share targets with Julio, and they're not a throwing team.
All right. Am I going Josh Allen here, or am I going like Russ Wilson?
Dude, you're going to see a run of quarterbacks coming.
I know. That's why I'm asking. Do I go Josh Allen or Russ Wilson?
I don't know if those guys are going to be on the board.
I'll just take Josh. I'm taking Josh Allen because Tom's here, and that's his guy. That's for you, Tom. Big shout out to my man Tom.
You might see like Herbert and Dom by the time you get the pick.
I probably should have grabbed a running back instead of Justin Jefferson. They're starting to dry up a little bit. Put a couple in my queue here.
Damn, someone took Waller already? That's early.
Dude, I thought Gaskin, didn't he get picked up by the Steelers? Or did he get cut by us already?
He got cut, I believe.
Did he? They're saying that what's his name's going to start, right? James Robinson, or are they saying ETN, or is it just going to basically be an equal timeshare?
I don't know. With the Jags, it's who knows, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, QBs aren't even like really up on this list.
I'm shocked they didn't take any yet. That's why I took Mahomes.
Yep.
Well, if I'm going to reach, I'd rather reach for the best in the second round.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I don't blame you. I don't think I'm going to be able to get my next choice here either. Dude, Julio is ranked pretty low this year.
Julio wasn't Julio last year. He was hurt a little bit. He's going to a different offense where they don't throw a lot.
There's still some solid players left. There goes Kittle. That's who I was hoping to get. Yeah, Adam Thielen is awesome, man. Diggs, too. Yeah, I've always been prone to the Viking players, too, just because they've always been my second favorite team. There's like no running backs left. so much depth at receiver right now. Oh, Travis Etienne. Shout out to Myra. Them Jacksonville Jags. Nice pick with Mark Andrews. Yeah, guys, at the end of this, you guys that are watching are going to get to pick who has a better team between me and Nate. Dismera's on the clock. Dun, 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 dun. I have to do this, even though I don't like it, but
Tyler Lockett was
I had to handcuff ETN just in case he's not getting the carries. James Robinson. Hate having to do that, but especially this early on. I think there's still enough talent everywhere else to be able to afford that. So now I really don't have to. I'm going to need probably at least one more running back at some point. Quarterback should be going this round, though. I think they start Wood. Yeah, dude, I'm going to totally miss out on Juju. I'll probably miss Claypool. I'll probably miss Odell. Probably miss Shenault. Wide receiver. Onside, I probably should grab the wide receiver, too. I'll find a few people that I can get, like, sleeper value on. There's LaVista. Myra says paychecks in the mail. I know, Tom. I'm going Claypool next round if he's still if he's still there. I doubt he will be though, because he's 4th overall and looks like we got 3 auto picks coming up. I'll totally go Claypool or Beckham here if I could. I'd be happy with Juju too, but I doubt he'll be available. I think auto pick's just going to take him. Although I think this is also the odd round, so Nate picks before me too, so he'll also take whoever I want most likely. T. Higgins. That's a good one, Tom. Yeah, they still are by committee as far as I know. Do I pick before you this round or after you?
You picked before me.
Oh, okay, cool. Don't take Chase. Come on, Chris. Leave him for me. Well, at least I get Chase or Odell. I'm happy with either one of them. I agree, Tom. Pats could be a sneaky pickup. There goes Chase right before me. Odell it is. Happy with Odell Beckham as my second wide receiver. I'm surprised that any of them fell to me. Like, I really am. Positions. Dude, Russ Wilson is still on the board. Unbelievable. I think I probably missed all the tight ends at this point. Tight end. Yeah, I did. Didn't I, huh? Is Gronk coming back this year?
Yeah.
I didn't realize Hunter Henry went to whatchamacall? New England. Who did you pick, Nate?
I picked Fournette and DJ Chalk Jr.
Nice.
Jack receiver.
Shout out to my man, Nate Dizzy. You ready for this, Nate? Are you ready for this? Boom.
Why?
Jimmy James Conner. It had to happen, man. It had to happen. It's like Wayne's World when they're looking at the guitar and he's like, "It will be mine." That's how I look at James Conner when it's fantasy time. That was probably a reach. Probably should have went wide receiver there. But just the effect of getting James Conner is probably well worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, receiver's starting to get a little dicey.
Yep.
That's why I got my last one. Well, not my last one, but my last starter, I should say.
Yeah. Who did you pick? Devontae Smith. Not a bad pick. Start seeing a lot of the young guys going here. Are you ready? I believe so. It's only a mock. Got to get it out of your system for real. Exactly. Got to get that Connor out of my system. Although I'll probably end up drafting him anyway.
Seeing how the draft fell, I should have waited picking the quarterback. I thought for sure it was going to take a run, but
yeah. I honestly picked up my quarterback because you picked up yours. I was like, huh, I think he's onto something.
I mean, like I said, I got the best guy or one of the best.
Dude.
But
I would trade you Justin Jefferson for him right now. You know what I mean? And I drafted him, I think, one pick before, you know? Tommy B, Ryan Tannehill, Marquise Brown. Are you going to leave the guy that Anthony wants to pick? Is that what's going to happen here? Team Crisp, or are you going to pick him? I bet you any money Nate can pick the guy that I'm going to pick next. Oh, Team Crisp, you. I was going to pick Antonio Brown. Dang. All right. Question soon becomes, do I go rookie or veteran that I think is going to do well? Let's go veteran. T.Y. Hilton. That would have been Antonio Brown. That Team Crisp not done that to me. The tight end is just like terrible looking right now. Is Austin Hooper the number one tight end in Cleveland right now?
yeah.
David Johnson, nice pickup.
Starter. Starter snaps late in the draft. I'll take it as my third running back. He might even start over Fournette.
All right, I guess I'm going to go Waddle here. Little rookie love. Little rookie. Fastest in the draft, I believe, right? Jalen Waddle?
Then I took Bucks. I took Bucks defense.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to go tight end, but like literally it's like a dime a dozen at this point. So it's like, screw it. I'll just get players that I could play based on matchups at this point.
You either want to get Tobin or Tyron just got picked. You might want to get Mike Geslicki or whatever his name is.
Oh, from Dolphins?
Either him or Ebron's gone now, I think.
No, Ebron's still there.
Oh, yeah. Hunter Henry, he's another good tight end. That's about it after that.
Mm-hmm. There goes Gesicki. Come on, dude. Lopez, pick your player. Ronald Jones. I don't have time for Ronald Jones, eh? All right. I guess I'll just grab a tight end here. But I want to go Ebron. That's good. I'll just grab Ebron. Oh, I grabbed Ingram instead. Dang it. Meant to grab Ebron. Oh, well. Evan Ingram's good, too. Good enough.
Shut up. I hate with that. It's like, quick, make your pick.
Yep.
Like, stop it. Leave me alone, all right?
Boom! Steelers.
I'm surprised. I can't believe some of these guys are still lingering around. So I'd rather go for starters a little bit earlier, like my defense, because like some of these guys I'm going to trade. That's sitting on my bench.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like because they're on a top talent. Pound, pound, pound.
That's interesting. Come on, Santiago. Dude, it's like literally so hot in my house right now. Oh, speaking of Emmanuel Sanders, he's playing for Tom's team now. Little Buffalo Bills.
If I knew that, I probably would have picked him. Guess we lost Pittsburgh. I went Ben Roethlisberger's my backup, and I picked Kansas City's kicker because Kansas City's going to kick a lot of points. Field goals, extra points. Back.
What up? I had to jump in on my tablet. My computer died. So we're now controlling you from my tablet. So let me pull the chat back up. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, crap. I'm on the clock, aren't I? And I'm about to auto draft. Dang it. Who did I pick?
Gronk.
Oh, well.
I took Big Ben, and I took Kansas City's kicker.
Nice. How many picks do I still need?
We got 3 left.
Okay. So I need a kicker and 2 bench spots. Yeah, I picked Baker Mayfield as my backup quarterback. I think Baker's due for a good year, man. I really do. He has all them weapons around him. I think he's a good quarterback. You know, he just needs to put a few pieces together.
I just don't think they're going to throw enough.
I mean, yeah, they have such a dominant run defense. It's insane. All right, Team Crisp, you're probably going to take the player I want, so go ahead and do it so I can kick you in your virtual dingleberries. Yep. Justin Tucker. That was the guy I was going to take. They just took him. You know what? Washington's defense is pretty good, right? Wait, they didn't take Justin Tucker, did they? No, they didn't.
No,
Okay, cool. I'm going to take Justin Tucker then. Cool. I normally don't like taking a kicker before the last pick, but Justin Tucker's like the one kicker I'll make that exception for. So I like him. He's another one of them guys that have done right by me in fantasy in the past. So, like, those guys that do right by me, I'm prone to pick again. He's one of them guys. So, Washington's defense is gone. Denver's defense is pretty good. Browns' defense is pretty good. I like to have, like, if I can, if it's a deep enough league, I like to run 2 decent defenses to play matchups on.
Yeah.
Dude, I forgot about my dude, Young Ho Koo. I had him in like most of my leagues last year just because his name was Young Ho.
I took E. Sanders.
Nice. I'm going to grab Denver defense as well. Good old Danny Dimes is still on the board. So wide receiver wise, how many do I have? 4. I could probably get one more receiver or running back. Right, receivers, probably no good running back left. AJ Green is available still. That's a sneaky little. I don't know if I could do it though. He done burnt me so many times. I need to find like a sleeper somewhere now. That could be a good player. I think. Is Darrington Evans going to? No, he's not going to get snaps. He's behind what's his face? Chuba Hubbard. He's going to be a backup. There's actually 2 guys here that I could potentially pick. It could be sneaky. I'll get your opinion on this. If you were me, Nate, would you roll with Mark Ingram? He plays for Houston. He'll be in a timeshare with David Johnson. Or would you roll with wide receiver Sammy Watkins on Baltimore?
You must be looking at my screen, 'cause that's what I had to Sammy Watkins.
All right, I'll save you Watkins. I'll grab the running back. Where's my queue? Do you have a preference? I'll just give you whoever. You have the handcuffs, so I'll let you have Ingram. Take Watkins. So then you'll have both Houston backs. That's funny. You had those same two players. That's awesome. Yeah, I actually can't see your queue there or anything like that. Just too small.
Matt Pryder, double kicker.
Nice. So, what's your squad looking like over there, man?
I really like my team, man. I really like it. Mahomes, McCaffrey, Fournette, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, Mark Andrews, DJ Chalk, Bucks defense, Kansas City's kicker, David Johnson, Hunter Henry, Markel Hardman, Ben Roethlisberger, Rams defense, Emmanuel Sanders, and Prater, which is Arizona's kicker, which I think will have a lot of points.
Nice. Yeah, can you pull up mine?
Guys
in the chat, let us know who you think had a stronger draft. I mean, I do have James Conner. I'm just throwing that out. I'm just putting that out there.
So Pittsburgh had Josh Allen, Cook, Jags second round pick or first round pick, running back, Jefferson, Beckham, Ingram, James Robinson, Steelers D, Tucker, Connor, T.Y. Hilton, Jay Waddle, Baker Mayfield, Gronk, Broncos, Sammy Watkins.
Not bad. I mean, I don't think it's my best work, but I'm okay with it.
I would say the only thing that I would say is a weak spot on your team is your tight end position.
I know, dude. I totally missed the boat on tight end.
Yeah, I was
kind
happy
of
with
banking I was banking to grab Kittle earlier. Like, if I would have grabbed Kittle, like right where I grabbed Allen, and then just grabbed like Russ Wilson the next round or something like that, I feel like I'd have done a lot better, or at least later round.
The only thing else I could say about your team is look how many buys you got in week 7. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buys on week 7.
Yeah.
That reminds me of I think it was it might have been on the league I lost on or whatever that I had like half my squad like that week, so I basically threw the towel in for that game because there's no way I was going to drop like 3 star players just to fill my roster.
I wouldn't have either, man. I'd have done the same thing. I would have just basically put in whoever had on my bench just to keep them.
Yeah, I like my squad, man. I like my receivers. Like they have good quarterbacks, and with what's it called, Wilson and guy from the Chargers, and then my running back position with Fournette is a little iffy, but I do have David Johnson on the bench, so I have definitely like even if it's not like a running back 1, he's like a running back 2, so
definitely
I'm okay with that. DJ Chalk should see a lot of catches. He had a pretty good season last year. He's kind of like my flex, or I can run another tight end, or I can go and even 3 running backs if I wanted to go that. So
yeah,
I kind of have enough flexibility. I really don't have anybody kind of heavily overwrapped, and I do got 1, 2, 3. I got 4 7s too, so not as bad, but it's mostly like a couple of my bench guys that were 7s, but
yeah,
not too shabby.
Guys, definitely down in the comment section, let us know who you think had the better team. Let us know like any strategies you have that could improve our chances of actually doing well this year. Because that's my favorite part, is being able to like be successful and talk crap to my friends on the leagues. So hoping that that'll come into fruition this year and I'll have another good team. But they're maybe full of James Connors, so who knows? Yep, I think it's pretty close too. I think my one glaring weakness is that tight end, which really it's going to come down to, can Evan Ingram stay healthy, and will Gronk be consistent and productive. Yeah, Nate definitely has more consistent. Absolutely.
That's the main thing. Like, like I try to make it so like each position either has like one of the top guys or the top guy. You know what I mean? Like if you dip too low in a couple key positions, like it really can hurt you. Throughout the weeks and so on and so forth. But if you can go with a pretty balanced attack, like with just overall team, like if I'd have known quarterback was going to go so much later, I would have waited. But at that point, like there really wasn't anybody I was like dying to get. Other than maybe I should have got another running back a little bit earlier, but it would have been like Miles Sanders or Chris Carson. Chris Carson played good last year. He had some good points and stuff like that. So maybe I should have went that and then picked up Mahomes the second time, but Mahomes might have not been on the board. So that was what I looked at it. Being whenever I swear whenever we do the seasons or whatever, like for the real draft or whatever, I never get an early pick. So it was a little bit different for me because usually I'm used to like having the last pick of the round. So
yeah,
if I just probably swapped around and did Mahomes the next round, I probably would have been a better bet, but also I probably wouldn't have got Tyler Lockett either. So I mean,
true.
I'm pretty happy with my squad.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'd be comfortable rolling into the season with what I got. I would just be like really watching the tight end market, trying to either trade and or upgrade. Because when you get into like the fantasy championships, like literally every matchup makes a difference. That was kind of why I was able to like justify grabbing Justin Tucker when I did, because I know for a fact he's going to put X, Y, and Z every single week because he's consistent. He's proven he's consistent at that. Even though kicker is probably the least important position in all of fantasy, it's still when you're coming down to facing another team that's really, really good, even getting 3 more points from a kicker is really, really important. And anytime you get a kicker that can give you double-digit points, that's always huge too. So that was one of the reasons I went with Tucker. But and you went with a kicker pretty early too, with I think Kansas City's, right?
I picked Kansas City. Yeah, I mean they're going to put up points. Maybe they score a little bit too many touchdowns, but I mean they're going to consistently score, close to 10 points, which for a kicker that's what you want. And you depending on who you're going against, he might even kick more field goals. So like he might. I mean there was games where he had I think 15 points or something in the game or whatever last year. So. Yeah, I mean, he had 4 field goals. 1, 2, 3. He had 5 field goals twice, and 3 games of 4 field goals. Oh, no, I'm sorry, those are extra points. Where am I looking at?
Hobby Gates is asking, when is the real draft? I don't know if we've officially set a date yet. Did you have a date in mind, Nate?
I'll look at the schedule to see what the season's looking like, the start date and everything like that, and then we'll probably go like 2 weeks before the season starts. This way, get a little bit of preseason. The roster's a little more settled. There's not as many injury things that can happen, after you draft. Because that's the main thing. I don't want someone to be totally screwed as soon as they, say, knock on wood, Mahomes goes down. Like that would kill my team because I have Ben Roethlisberger my next quarterback. So like. You know what I mean? Like, and I put such a high value pick into Mahomes. So it's kind of like why I want to wait a little bit longer versus picking out because, you get one of those guys in your early picks. It stings really bad unless a lot of people have injuries, which it is football. A lot of stuff can happen. But, I just don't want nobody to really get, smacked hard with the injury bug real bad.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. Mama's in the house. She had the Mahomes boy last year on her squad.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Mama. But yeah, we'll definitely do it like Nate said, like 2 weeks before. We're gonna do probably at least 2. We'll have 1 live draft on my channel and 1 live draft over on Nate's channel as well. So again, if you're not following him, go over and follow him at Everyday I'm Hustlin. And that way you won't miss the fantasy drafts. They are open to everybody. So if you guys would want to be in our league, you can leave a comment down below. You can reach out to us on social media. Email either one of us, whatever's easier. I do have my contact information in the link below, in the description below. And I know Nate does the same thing on his channel as well. So if anybody is interested, just let us know. Like I said, we normally do at least 2 leagues a year. Which I mean,
There's a link.
Good.
There's a link for the auction tomorrow.
Yep.
I wanted to drop that for you guys. Get out of here, so this way you guys can hang out with us tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern on my channel.
Yep. Awesome. Yep, and we will be over there, guys. So make sure you check out Nate because I got some brand new cards for you guys this week, and it's gonna be awesome. But we are gonna get going, guys. Genuinely appreciate everyone that hung out with us today, and until tomorrow, may God bless you. Hope you guys take it easy. Nate, is there anything you want to promote before we roll?
I'll definitely have a video coming shortly as soon as my PSA submission comes back from a group submitter I dealt with before I even started doing submissions. I'm waiting on that. That will be back hopefully next week, and it'll be in time for the auction. Not this week, but next week on Anthony's channel, Pittsburgh's channel. So definitely don't want to miss the video. Appreciate the support, and then I'll be bringing a lot of those slabs to auction. So I might even do some at auction, and then the normal buy it now. But I definitely will have a bunch. I'll have 37 slabs. I think around half of them were 10s, half of them were 9s, and then I had like 3 that were. I think I had 1 7 and 2 8s. So a lot of fire, a lot of good grades. So definitely don't want to miss it. Good deals.
What's your opinion on this? He's asking. He'd be giving up Baker Mayfield, Hines, Chubb, and Jonnu Smith, and he would get Kareem Hunt, Julio Jones, Hawkinson, and Juju. It's a half PPR. So he's getting 3 guys that could put up PPR points. I mean, I think Chubb and Hunt are going to be a timeshare. I think Chubb's definitely the more valuable part of that timeshare. I like Hawkinson a little bit more than Jonnu. I definitely think you're getting substantial upgrades at wide receiver, most likely, because I'm not really seeing, any wide receivers that you're giving up. So I would say if you have good enough value or depth, I would say like at quarterback or running back to make that happen. I don't see a problem with that. What do you think?
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with what other players you got, but giving up Mayfield, who is a good, even a backup, worst case scenario on your team. But Chubb is one of those top notch guys, and Juno, he had a great year in the last couple of years with the Titans. You're going to an offense which is going to do play action and do it and have some red zone, chances down in the red zone and stuff like that. So I don't know if I do that, honestly. I mean, I don't think Julio is going to be anything like we're used to next year. They don't throw the ball a whole lot down in Tennessee. And then you're also competing with catches with A.J. Brown and Corey Davis, I believe, is still there. So, I mean, they still have 3 really good receivers, and they're more of a run-first, play hard-nosed defense type of team. Hawkinson, he's a tight end, which is, probably one of the mid-tier, maybe towards the beginning tier, guys. But he doesn't have his quarterback with that Stafford. Stafford went to the Rams, and then Juju's with the Steelers, and Juju's going to put up numbers, but the running back position is harder to fill than the receiver position, in my opinion. So I would probably stay to my guns unless, maybe you can make it work, because of what other players you might have or whatever. So
yeah, that would really be it. Like for me, I would have to have at least 2 solid running backs to think about giving up Chubb, just because you figure Chubb you probably drafted either late first round or really early second round. And most of those other guys, pretty much as we saw, are all mid to late round picks for the most part. You know what I mean? Like post 5th round. So, that's a pretty substantial drop down, but like I said, if you have solid running backs, like maybe you want like running back. I'm not entirely sure how you draft it, but if you have another good quarterback and at least 1 or 2 other really good running backs, I think you can pull it off if you desperately need the help of a receiver, especially since it is a PPR. You know what I mean? I think that Juju is a decent receiver for PPR. He's more of like the possession type guy for the Steelers. You know, he's the guy that Ben looks at for, you know, conversions and stuff like that. So I think he's going to get catches. You know what I mean? I just it would really just depend on who else you have. Joe Deals is in the house. He says he's down with the fantasy league. Absolutely, my friend. You will absolutely be invited back. We will let you guys know an exact date once we get that set up. But if you are interested, just leave a comment on this video or reach out to us in any other way, and we'd be happy to get you connected, send you the invite link, and all that stuff for our leagues. Nate is the commissioner for both leagues, so they're both going to run through him. So if you have any questions that even I can't answer, Nate's going to be like kind of the go-to guy that's setting it all up for us. You know, basically putting in work so that we can have fun. So give my man Nate a big round of applause for stepping up so we can do this.
Yeah, we'll try and get the people that were in the league with us last year. We'll try and get them first dibs to have another chance to go make a go around. I mean, if we have enough people, you know, maybe we'll do 3 leagues this year. I mean, I don't mind, you know, doing it or whatever. I mean, it was really successful, no issues, no problems. Even with COVID last year, you know, there was no problem, stuff like that. Very competitive. You know, there was no teams that I would say that, you know, had, you know, went to the wayside and no one really dealt with. You know, everyone tried their best to fill the you know, teams, make it very competitive, and that's the main thing. Just have fun. Have it be competitive. You know, you're not going against a team that half their players aren't even playing or something, and then it's an easy one and that screws you out of making the playoffs or something. I've had that happen in years too. So, you know, last year we had 2 leagues. They're both highly competitive. Everyone, you know, like I said, did their best. They were active. No one just kind of fell off the face of the map or anything like that. And that's the main thing for me. Just have fun. The money essence to it is just a little way of getting like a trophy in a way. You know what I mean? Like instead of just being a participation award or a pat on the back, if you get a few bucks in your pocket, it's cool. But it's just all about having fun and, you know, talking sports. And it'd be something we talk about on our Saturday shows after. You know, the games before the games start, we'll go talk about players that, you know, we like in the weeks, you know, coming forward and so forth. So even if you're not in leagues, or maybe you're in too many and you just, you know, don't, you know, you're good on your leagues and you don't join any, still come in, hang out, talk sports with us. We'll be talking about fantasy and cards, of course.
Yeah. And you can talk trash to us if we make a bad pick. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you can drill me about James Conner. Just like every single time I see a Sekou card when I'm with Marty, he always has to point it out. Like, hey, you see that guy? Because I went way too heavy on Sekou and I was wrong. So feel free, guys.
Yeah, well, I'll be sending. I'll try to send some messages on Facebook. If not, I think I have everyone's email from last year. I'll go through and get everything set up for it. And if someone doesn't want to be in it, let me know. And then this way I can, you know for sure that, okay, I have a spot left. I know Mom said she doesn't want to be in it this year, and that's fine. You know, we'll fill the void. But, you know, if anybody else doesn't want to be in it, no problems. Like I said, last year was fun. I just wanted to do it again.
Yep. We appreciate you guys. Again, any other questions, feel free to reach out to us anytime. And we will see you guys tomorrow over on Nate's channel. Make sure you come out for the auction, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you guys.
Bye.
The city is still